My name is Stephen Adesemoye, Department of Mass Communication. I'm a lecturer here, and I lecture film production, and I major in film paranormal as a film theorist. Paranormal depiction in films are the actions or inactions that cannot be explained by science. For example, you say somebody is a witch, that is why you are not giving birth, or that is something, somebody tied your womb, you have to prove that, you know. All this depiction appear, you disappear, you reappear, odeshi, all these kind of things, they are paranormal situations. Any situation, action, or inaction that is not normal is paranormal. Well, it depends on where on the divide you sit. But either way, everybody agrees that we are not where we are supposed to be. The beauty of education to me is a kind of empowerment that translates into economy. Okay, not until your education is able to produce something, then you are not doing anything. And you agree with me that from the syllabi to the enabling environment to the infrastructure to the educator to the policies, etc., etc., everything is not right as we speak. And from foundation, like the primary education to secondary to tertiary institution, we already know we have a serious problem on our hands. In fact, we have an hydra-headed problem on our hands. As we cut one head, it grows 10. And unfortunately, because we are not even nipping it in the bud, it is festering and becoming bigger and bigger every day. And that is why you see now that people just come to school and at the end of the day you just leave. And we used to have army of unemployed youth. Now we have army of unemployable youth. Because even with their certificate, they are unable to translate it into anything. And you look at it critically, that what we have primarily now, less for some little teacher institutions or courses or programs, we have certification and not education. Okay, and you agree with me that there is huge difference between being educated and being certificated. Even you agree with me also that those kids that believe they don't have the capacity, the mental, the academic capacity to go to teacher institutions, and they go to the streets to learn tailoring, to learn vulcanizer, they are even getting more knowledge. They are getting more capacity because they can do something compared to somebody that spent years in teacher institution and at the end of the day looking for jobs, cannot create a job, or cannot even fit into the request, the need of the labor market. So you agree with me that every aspect, from policy to syllabi to enabling environment to facility to infrastructure, even to the mindset to parents, everything as far as education is concerned is nosediving. Or let me simply put it as nosedived completely. Yes, you're right. But at the same time, I don't think our problem is all about funding. I don't think, I've mentioned a couple of intervening variables that are responsible for where we are as far as education is concerned. Funding is just part of it, and I don't think it's all about funding. For example, I know Tech Fund has been doing a fantastic job in the areas of capacity development and even structural development. I can tell you on this campus we have lots of Tech Fund presses. So I may say it's part of it, but I don't think it's the foundation. I don't think it's the foundation. Primarily, we should be talking by now. I am always more concerned when we go out of this country and we see things, we see a learning environment, we see the equipment, the structure, the facilities, you even see the syllabi, the curricula, and you can't compare with what you have here. Even the teaching method, the pedagogy, all these things, you can't compare. And I think we should emulate what is fantastic. Even the structure of our lectures, I think that one has to do with money. The structure of my lecture does not have anything to do with money. How do I structure my lecture? How do I ensure that it's student-based? Okay? Because right now, because of a lot of distractions, the need for us to redesign the way we teach. I must make it student-based. How do we ensure that these students participate? That we are not just spoon-feeding them. How do we allow them to do critical thinking? All these things, they don't have anything to do with money. I'm not saying funding is not part of the problem, but there are other things. What about policies? Policy about money? What are the policies? Somebody finishes from Polytechnic, spends 5 years, okay, because the person wants to have masters or whatever, the person will have to go back to university again to go and convert his or her HND to 300 level. If somebody is not thinking about that one, that's sheer wasting of life, time, resources, a couple of other things like that. These are simple policies that we need. How do we harness this? How did we get to this stage? Polytechnic education, university education are doing the same thing? No. But how come the line just disappeared and everybody is competing? Somebody in Polytechnic wants to be investment, you want to be, all these kind of things. These are simple policies that we have to work around. They have nothing to do with money. But only if we do a critical analysis of where we are, and we can determine where we are going. Without education, no country can move. Forget about it. Without sound education, no country can move to anywhere. I'll try to be as careful as possible. You agree with me that the right to demonstrate or protest or go on strike is enshrined in the Constitution, and so if you feel you are not comfortable with any situation, policy, you can decide to protest the way you want to protest. But at the same time, I also think we need to redesign why we go on strike. Why do I say this? I keep asking myself, logically, if we go on strike today because of poor funding of the universities, because our salaries are not coming in, and because perhaps our emolument allowances and some other things are not coming in, I keep asking myself, if you increase today, just like the law allows for minimum wage review, whatever, if you are allowed to be doing that always, and the price of a commodity is 10 naira today, we fight, we storm the streets, we lock our shops, and we are requesting for money, and we are giving 12,000 naira, and nothing has changed from the polity, nothing has changed from the policy, nothing has changed from the direction. It simply means in another 3 years, that 12 naira will be useless because there will be inflation. Now, the question is, are we not supposed to sit down, look at what are we even supposed to fight for? I would love to storm the streets and lock my shop and go starving if we are demonstrating against bad governance. Because, don't forget where I'm coming from. I've not said what they're fighting for is wrong. But my problem is, if those things are fixed, we are still going to protest again. Because the structures will go down, will deteriorate, the money inflation will come on it, everything will change. So we're going to storm the street. So how do we ensure that we'll find a lasting solution? And I think the best way is to get the right government in place. And once that one is done, my brother, go to reliable, sensible, fantastic countries and look at the education system. It's, apart from the fact that it's more passion driven, another thing is that the government takes care of that area and ensure that there's no disruption. And the best way is that the governance must be right. If the governance is right, the policy will be right. If the governance is right, the funding will be right. If the governance is right, the atmosphere will be right. So the more we fight for all these things, they give us more structures, they give us more money, they give us all these things. Money will depreciate. The structures will depreciate. Then we'll go to street again. Then apart from that, even when these policies, laws are made, we still need to keep improving on them constantly. It's only when you fight for good governance that you know that I asked myself in the last 3.5 years, the current minister, what has he done as far as education is concerned? I don't know. I can't even pinpoint anything. They keep telling us, damn, they make money. Are you supposed to be making money from your citizens? Is that why we are here? Is that why they are there? In the first place, am I even in support of them? What is them? Why are you making money from your poor citizens? So the only thing I'm sure he has recorded as far as education is concerned about making more money from profit from them. Apart from that, the problems persist. So if the governance is right, if the polity is right, every other thing will fall in place. That's my position. I'm not saying they are wrong. I wouldn't say they are wrong. You ask me, am I comfortable in my office? The way you see it, everything, I will tell you no. But I think if the government is right, okay, you are sure everything will be right. That is my own take as well as protest or strike is concerned. Speaking sincerely, there's no way to affect the students. You will agree with me that let's even take it from an idle hand, which is Devil's Workshop. And you can imagine the once they don't have anything doing, you'll be surprised at what their minds will tilt towards. Like you will see a couple of undergrad involved in these internet fraud systems. That you see some going to prostitution. You see a couple of them even impregnating people, or people impregnating them. You know, you have them just jumping from. But primarily between you and I, we are not growing younger. We grow older every day. You agree with me? Somebody that's supposed to spend 4 years. Now we are giving him or her 6 years. Part of his life is gone. Part of our life is gone. The person wants to get the education, move to the next stage, and let's see what happens. There are so many intervening variables, you know, that will come into play when these kids are at home doing nothing. So the more we engage them, the better for them. By the time they come back now to school, they have to start dusting their brains again and trying to plug into the system again to know what's up. Okay, where do you start from? Is that education? No. For those ones that know where they are going, perhaps they will go and start learning. Then what is the purpose of the education? Defeated. Okay? So that is my own position. There's no way it will affect them, but at different degrees. Well, the first thing I need to establish is the fact that I am very passionate about teaching. I'm a very young chap. Forget about grey hair. So I'm passionate about teaching, and that is why I've spent the better part of my productive life in academia. And going straight to your question, one is that I take my student from notebook, from textbooks. Now we go to field. If you look behind you now, you see tripod, you see lights, you see camera. Open that drawer, you see everything. My personal stuff, not even for the school. Apart from what the school has, I make sure, hey guys, let's go. And I don't even have to wait. It's like I have all this sophisticated equipment. What I do primarily is to adapt and adopt. When you shoot film, come on. You have Android phone, you have Mac phone, you know, Apple that you're just keeping there, you're doing WhatsApp, hello, hi. I'll tell you, young woman, come. You can shoot film with this. Are you getting it? Shoot film with this. I know your phone is your best friend. Okay, how do you make your best friend your best opportunity. Okay, let's turn this into stuff. And what I do for them is once you even shoot with your phone, you edit with your phone, there are 2 to 3 competitions for film shots with phones. So I push them so that they can have some form of rewards. Okay, that's how I've been doing that, and I ensure you are as good as your last research as a teacher. You are as good as your last research. So what I do also is to ensure that I upgrade. At the time, I was going to film school every year for 7 years, for one certificate course or the other, because you can't just sit down and think I don't know if I'm getting it. So I was having certificate in this. They have a program they call Shoots. Okay, I go there, do my certificate course, perhaps 1 week or 2, and after that I come back. Then it's going to have a lot of impact on the students I'm teaching, and I can tell you for free that African Movie Choice Award, is that what it's called? Yes, the best art director was my student. That's Tunja Falayo. Yeah. So also, I take them to cinema. I tell you have to develop cine culture. It's different from watching cinema or phone. It's watching film on your phone or in the comfort of your home. The atmospheric condition of watching at the cinema is different from watching at home. Okay, let's go to cinema. I also say, okay, let's do costume day. You see them, we have seen some albums behind you there. See them different attire. They're going to do one next week now. And apart from having different costumes on them, what they also do is to have a campaign on vote no war, a peaceful election. Okay, so I just make it fun for them. I make it fun for them, interactive. At times I tell you, let's leave the classroom, let's go under the tree, let's do something. Okay, this is how it should look like. Nobody needs to, I don't know if I'm getting it. So I make sure they do all these things, and you will have seen at the corridor, we try to put some picture illustration that even when you are going out to step into the corridor there, this is a shot, this is a long shot. I try as much as possible to ensure that they go with something. This is Polytechnic education. I wouldn't expect them to start looking for jobs again. I don't expect them to start looking for jobs again. If you look at my board behind me, I pieces the celluloid and the digital camera, how you go about this, how do you do all these things, it's just like that. Simplify as much as possible. That is how much I've been able to contribute. And in addition, the regulatory body, the National Board for Technical Education, what they give us as the minimum syllabi, okay, the curricula. What I do is that at the beginning of every semester, I look at what can I add to it, considering the contemporary issues. Okay, contemporary issues. So I garnish that, enhance it, add to it, then teach the students, and that's how we've been doing it. And I can tell you, wherever my students go, they should be able to establish that yes, they are students of a polytechnic system. That is it.